Alrighty, everybody. So I finally did it. I mean, obviously, there's not much of anticipation on your part, or like you don't see how much I've had to play this game to get in the top 100. But I finally did it. I was looking at my Steam hours that I've played for this game, and it was 18 hours. Almost 18 and a half hours, 18.4, which is just so frustrating. But that's how long it took me to get into the top 100 of this game. There were several times I was really close, and then it just didn't happen. But this one, it worked out. So I'll talk about that as we go along. So I got this weapon pretty early on. It is, in my opinion, by far the worst weapon. It does more damage technically, but it's not even close to worth it because it swings so slowly. But I have it for a little while here. But since it's at the beginning of the game, it's not too big of a deal. But we'll have to survive with it for a while. Oh man. I have been so frustrated at this game. I remember in my first few episodes of recording this, I was like, this is a really good game. And really it is. I don't really ever want to badmouth people that make games, because it's hard. But man, this game, it pushed me to the limit. I was so frustrated so many times. But I did it. I did it for you guys. I got into the top 100. And I'd like to see if you guys do it faster than me. I think you definitely can. 18 hours is a long time. And I think I just wasn't... I don't know if I just wasn't mentally there or what it was, but it took a while for me to get it. The weapon I have now, which I got a while ago, but I've been talking, are the daggers, and I think they are by far the best weapon. They're fast, and they do multiple, like they swing multiple times, which means it's going to hit multiple times. So it does, I guess, just as much damage as the big hammer thing, because it hits multiple times. Anyways, it's just a lot better. It's really good. I really like it. You just saw me there, and you'll see me do it a lot, is throwing my weapon, which when I first started playing this, I didn't even know that was an option. But I really like to do it with big crowds of things, especially with the daggers, because the one downside with the daggers is that they're a little short. And so you don't have a ton of range, but it just gives you a little bit of an advantage, especially with these big crowds, right, like that. I really like throwing it into them. You gotta time it right though, because the bars around your little arrow guy right there indicate when your weapon will break. And if you throw it with too many bars and don't hit enough enemies, then it doesn't explode. And that's sad, because then you miss out on the advantage of it. Another thing you have to watch out for is, like, if you look at your bottom, you see, like, we are at level 1 right now, but we're about to hit level 2, so we're charged level 2. And we'll go up to level 3 if that last bit charges all the way. Well, the thing with like throwing your weapon is, I've had this happen quite a few times, is I'm hitting the enemies and I'm going up, and then I go up the next level and throw my weapon, but I didn't mean to throw my weapon when I was went to the next level, and there wasn't enough enemies, and so it didn't explode. We'll see if I do that. I don't remember actually if I do that at all this round. But that's one thing to watch out for. Some other strategies. Just, I guess one thing, make sure you're not dying for things, right? Like, it's not worth a life to go and try to get a multiplier. I mean, I often try to go get them, but if it push comes to shove, you shouldn't risk your life for a multiplier, because once you die, you lose all your multipliers. So that 50 times 59 up there, that's really what gets you the points. You're not going to get very far if you don't have a high multiplier. So this first life I get really far. We'll see how far I get, but yeah. These yellow guys here have killed me far too often. They are very fast, and then they seek after you, right? Which they all do. So that's not, alright, most of the things in this game do, so it's not that big of a deal. But like, there are little yellow trails there. Oh, right there, you saw it almost didn't break, but then it hit some enemies behind it. That the yellow trails that go behind it prevent you from moving, so they can like box you in a little bit, and that can cause some issues. It doesn't usually cause me issues, but just the speed at which they come is usually something that catches me by surprise. If I like don't see them on my screen until the last moment. Just a little bit ago, you saw me wait a little while with my before my weapon broke, and the reason I did that was because there wasn't anything on the screen, but I knew when I broke it, it was going to do some good damage to people, so I waited for the next wave to come out and then attacked, and it broke the weapon, but it also killed the thing that I was next to, but also killed everything else that had come out. Another thing to watch out for are these bullety long range attacks here from these guys. Obviously, they don't shoot until you destroy them, but there are other things that attack with long range, and that makes it really tough sometimes. There's some interesting people. I think I must have fought all the creatures at this point, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe there's some really far on, but that person I just killed, they do not get destroyed unless, well, they don't get destroyed by the breaking like that, like all the other things do. They just have a lot of life and you have to hit them. But honestly, I kind of like them because they always give a high multiplier. You'll see them not break, see that? Sometimes they do, I think, but that's because like it was their last health or something, and so they die. But they're pretty simple because they you just have to hit them a lot, right? And then there's also those things with the bubbles right there, the light blue on the left, and that prevents me from killing things in that bubble, which has caused issues, right? So it's really important to try to kill those things when they pop up. Otherwise, you can get overwhelmed really quickly. Here it was pretty close several times. I think this is where I die. And it's to one of these light blue, I think it just showed which one killed me, guys that shoot long range. And that was, I really don't like them because they aim at you. Unlike all the other things that shoot long range, they don't aim. And so I've learned to have to really be cautious of them. They might be the hardest enemy just because, ooh, yeah, dang it. That was unfortunate. Just because they can attack from long range, and if you're not paying attention, it can surprise you. But you saw I got up to like 180 multiplier on my first life, and I died so fast on my second life, which is like always really disappointing, right? But it seems to happen very often. It might be a mental thing, I don't know. But I come back and I keep going, and to make it in the top 100 on the leaderboard, I know I have to pass 2 million, But something I've also been doing is just not been looking at my score. Like, I didn't, it distracts me, and then like, oh, I just have to get this much more, and then I die, right? So I was trying to ignore that, but we'll see here soon that I make it over, or I already did make it over 2 million, which I didn't know at the time. I was just trying to survive as long as possible and get as big of a multiplier as I could, and yeah, so it was pretty. It was a really good run. Obviously, it was my best run. It got me in the top 100. I honestly don't think I'm gonna play again, or I might one day, but it was just too frustrating. But it is a fun game. I think it's worth at least playing a few times. It's kind of like an old arcade game. So I hope you guys all have a fantastic day. Bye.